Welcome to our channel. Here you learn English through real-life stories. Simple English. Easy listening. Let's begin. My name is Cristiano Ronaldo and this is my story. It did not start in big stadiums. It did not start with trophies or fame. It started on a small island called Madeira in Portugal. I was born on February 5, 1985. My family was very poor. We lived in a small house. Sometimes we did not have enough money for food. But even then I had one big dream. I wanted to play football. My father worked as a kit man at a local football club. He washed clothes. He cleaned boots. He worked very hard, but he earned very little money. My mother worked too. She did everything she could to help our family survive. As a child, I was not quiet. I was full of energy. I was always running, always kicking something. If there was no ball, I kicked bottles, stones, anything I could find. Football was not a hobby for me. It was my life. At school I had problems. I was not a good student. I did not like sitting still. Teachers said I talked too much. They said I did not listen. But inside me, my mind was always on football. Other kids laughed at me sometimes. They said I was too thin, too weak. But when I played football, everything changed. On the field I felt strong. I felt free. I felt like myself. When I was 8 years old, I joined a small club called Andorinha. My father worked there, so it was easy to join. But staying was not easy. I trained every day. I ran more than others. I tried harder than others. Even as a child, I hated losing. If my team lost, I cried. If I played badly, I could not sleep. Some people thought this was strange. But this fire inside me was real. Later I moved to Nacional, a bigger club on the island. This was a big step for me. The training was harder. The players were stronger. But I did not give up. I pushed myself every day. When I was 12 years old, my life changed forever. I left my family. I left my island. I moved to Lisbon to join Sporting CP. This was the hardest moment of my young life. I was alone. I missed my mother. I missed my home. At night, I cried quietly in my bed. But I never thought about quitting. Some boys at the academy laughed at my accent. They laughed at how I spoke. They said I was just a poor kid from an island. That hurt me. But pain became my fuel. Every morning I trained. Every afternoon I trained again. When others rested, I worked. When others laughed, I practiced. I promised myself one thing. I said, one day they will know my name. This was only the beginning. When I arrived in Lisbon, I was only 12 years old. I was still a child, but suddenly I had to live like an adult. My family stayed far away on the island of Madeira. For the first time in my life, I felt truly alone. The Sporting CP Academy was big and serious. Everything was new. New city, new people, new rules, and much harder training. At first, life was very difficult. I lived with other boys in a small room. We shared beds, food, and dreams. Some boys were nice. Others were not. They laughed at me because of my accent. They said I spoke funny. They called me the island boy. Sometimes they hid my things. Sometimes they made jokes that hurt. I did not fight them. I did not cry in front of them. But inside I felt pain. And every night I missed my mother deeply. There were days when I wanted to go home. I wanted to hug my family. I wanted to feel safe again. But I remembered why I came here. I came to become a footballer. I came to change my life. So I made a decision. I decided to work harder than everyone else. Every morning I woke up early. I trained before training. After official practice ended, I stayed on the field. I worked on my speed. I worked on my shots. I worked on my weak foot. Other boys went to rest. They played games. They laughed. I stayed with the ball. My body was small, but my mind was strong. I watched older players carefully. I copied their moves. I asked questions. I listened. Football was not just a game for me anymore. It was my escape. It was my answer to pain. It was my way forward. One day something scary happened. During a class I got very angry. The teacher made fun of me. I lost control and threw a chair. It was a big problem. The school wanted to send me away. They said I was trouble. They said I was too aggressive. This could have ended my dream. But sporting saw something in me. They saw passion. They saw fire. They decided to help me instead of sending me home. Soon after that, doctors found a problem with my heart. My heart was beating too fast. I needed surgery. I was afraid. Very afraid. I was only a boy in a big city far from home. But I had no choice. If I wanted to play football, I had to be brave. The surgery was successful. After some time, I was back on the field. Running. Training. Fighting. From that moment, I knew something for sure. Nothing would stop me. Not fear. Not pain. Not loneliness. I was growing. Not just as a player, but as a person. The coaches started to notice me. They saw my speed, my skills, my hunger to win. They moved me to stronger teams, older teams. I was younger than most players, but I was not weaker. I was ready. I kept one picture in my mind every day. My family watching me. My mother smiling. My island being proud. I told myself again and again, this pain is temporary. My dream is forever. As time passed, my hard work started to show. I was still very young, but people began to talk about me. Coaches watched me more closely. They saw my speed, my dribbling, and my hunger to win. I trained with players older than me. They were bigger. They were stronger. But I was not afraid. I respected them, but I did not fear them. Every training session felt like a test. I told myself, this is your chance. Don't waste it. So I gave everything. Every sprint. Every shot. Every pass. Soon I started playing for Sporting's first team. This was a huge step. I was no longer just a kid with a dream. I was close to becoming a professional footballer. My debut came faster than I expected. I remember the feeling clearly. My heart was beating fast. My legs felt light. When I stepped onto the pitch, I knew one thing. This is where I belong. I played with confidence. I took risks. I tried skills. I ran at defenders without fear. Football felt natural again, like when I was a child on the streets of Madeira. Then came a very important game. Sporting CP played against Manchester United, one of the biggest clubs in the world. The stadium was full. The pressure was huge. Before the match, I looked around and stayed calm. I told myself, play your game. Enjoy this moment. So that's what I did. That night, I played one of the best games of my life. I ran fast. I dribbled past defenders. I attacked again and again. The Manchester United players could not stop me. After the game, something unbelievable happened. The Manchester United players talked about me. They told their coach about me. They said, "We need this boy." Their coach was Sir Alex Ferguson, a legend, a man I respected deeply. Just a few days later, everything changed. Manchester United wanted to sign me. They wanted me immediately. I was shocked. I was excited. I was scared. Leaving Sporting was not easy. They believed in me. They helped me grow. But this opportunity was bigger than fear. I called my mother. I told her the news. She cried. Not from sadness. From pride. I remembered my promise. One day they will know my name. That day was coming faster than I ever imagined. When I arrived in England, everything felt different. The weather was cold. The language was hard. The football was fast and physical. Old Trafford was huge. Walking into that stadium felt unreal. I was only 18 years old, but I was wearing the red shirt of Manchester United. Sir Alex Ferguson spoke to me like a father. He trusted me. He guided me. He protected me. He gave me the number 7 shirt. This number had history. Legends wore it before me. I felt pressure, but I also felt honor. Training was tough. Very tough. Players hit hard. They ran fast. They expected a lot. At first I struggled. I lost the ball. I got fouled. Some players tried to scare me. But I did not change who I was. I kept my style. I kept my confidence. I kept working. Slowly things improved. I scored my first goals. Fans started to chant my name. I felt stronger every week. I was no longer the lonely boy from Lisbon. I was becoming a man, a footballer, a fighter. And deep inside, I knew this was just the beginning. My first season at Manchester United was not easy. People expected a lot from me. Some loved my skills. Others criticized me every week. They said I did too many tricks. They said I played for myself. They said I was too young and too soft. At first, these words hurt me. In England, football was different. Defenders were strong. They hit hard. They did not care about my age or talent. Every game felt like a battle. Many times I fell to the ground. I got fouled again and again. The crowd shouted. The pressure was heavy. But Sir Alex believed in me. He told me something I never forgot. He said, "Cristiano, talent is not enough. You must become stronger. You must learn when to pass, when to shoot, and when to wait." So I listened. I worked in the gym. I trained my body every day. I became faster, stronger, more balanced. I also worked on my mind. I watched my games again and again. I studied my mistakes. I learned patience. Slowly my game changed. I still loved skills. But now I played smarter. I played for the team. Goals started to come. Assists too. Fans started to cheer louder. My confidence grew. In 2004, I played in the European Championship with Portugal. It was a big tournament. I played for my country. I felt proud. We reached the final. The whole nation believed. But in the end we lost. I cried on the pitch. That pain stayed with me. It taught me something important. Losing hurts, but it also makes you stronger. Back in Manchester, I used that pain as fuel. I trained harder than ever. I wanted more. I needed more. The next seasons were better. I scored important goals. I helped my team win games. We won the Premier League. Then another one. The fans started to sing my name again. This time it felt different. They were not just cheering skills. They were cheering results. I learned how to deal with pressure. I learned how to stay calm. I learned how to lead. Still, people doubted me. They compared me to other players. They said I would never be the best. I did not answer with words. I answered on the field. Every morning I woke up hungry. Every night I went to sleep tired. But inside I felt alive. I remembered the boy from Madeira. Poor, lonely, dreaming. I told myself, you did not come this far to stop now. I was no longer just a talent. I was becoming a winner. And the biggest years were still ahead. By this time, I was no longer just a young player with skills. I was becoming one of the leaders at Manchester United. People started to expect goals from me. Not tricks. Not dribbles. Goals. This change did not happen by luck. It came from hard work. Every single day. After training, I stayed on the pitch. I practiced free kicks. I practiced headers. I practiced shooting again and again. Sometimes until my legs hurt too much to run. I watched the best players in the world. I learned how they moved in the box. How they waited for the right moment. How they finished chances. Slowly my numbers went up. More goals. More assists. More responsibility. The 2007 to 2008 season changed my life forever. Everything came together. My body was strong. My mind was focused. My hunger was endless. I scored goals in the league. I scored goals in Europe. Important goals. Decisive goals. Manchester United reached the Champions League final. The biggest stage in club football. Millions of people were watching. The final was tense. Every minute felt heavy. When I scored with a header, I felt pure fire inside me. Later we won the match on penalties. That night, we were champions of Europe. I held the trophy in my hands. I looked at it and thought about my journey. The island. The loneliness, the pain. Soon after, something else happened. I won the Ballon d'Or, the award for the best player in the world. When they called my name, I froze. I walked to the stage slowly. Inside, I felt like that little boy again. I thought about my family. My father, who was no longer alive. My mother, who sacrificed everything for me. I wished they could see me at that moment. Winning the Ballon d'Or was not just a trophy. It was proof. Proof that hard work beats doubt. That discipline beats talent alone. But success did not make me relax. It made me more hungry. People now compared me to the greatest players in history. Some loved me. Some hated me. Some wanted to see me fail. I learned something important. When you reach the top, the noise gets louder. The pressure gets heavier. The expectations never stop. Still, I kept going. I trained harder than before. I pushed my limits. Then came the rumors. Everywhere I went, people asked the same question. Will you go to Real Madrid? Real Madrid was my dream club as a child. The biggest club in the world. White shirt. History. Legends. The decision was not easy. Manchester United gave me everything. Sir Alex was like a father to me. But deep inside, I knew I needed a new challenge. I needed to grow again. I needed to test myself at the highest level. In 2009, I made the move. A world record transfer. The pressure was massive. When I arrived in Madrid, thousands of fans waited for me. They shouted my name. They believed in me. I looked at the stadium and said to myself, now the real fight begins. I was not running away from pressure. I was running toward it, because this is who I am. When I joined Real Madrid, my life changed overnight. This was not just another club. This was the biggest club in the world. And everyone was watching me. The presentation at the stadium was unbelievable. More than 80,000 fans came just to see me. They cheered. They smiled. They believed. I felt proud but also nervous. I knew something important. At Real Madrid, second place is not enough. Only winning matters. The pressure was heavy from the first day. People did not ask, will you play well? They asked, how many goals will you score? How many trophies will you win? I accepted this pressure. I needed it. Pressure pushed me forward. The Spanish league was different from England. The game was faster with the ball. More technical. More open. Defenders gave space but punished mistakes. At first it was not easy. Some fans compared me to legends of the club. Others said the transfer fee was too high. They wanted instant results. So I focused on one thing. Every training session I pushed myself. I arrived early. I left late. I trained my shooting, my movement, my body. Goals started to come quickly. In my first season I scored many goals. More than people expected. Still, the team did not win enough trophies. That hurt me. Goals are important, but trophies are everything. During these years, I faced my biggest rival, Lionel Messi. Every week, people compared us. They asked who was better. I respected him. But I did not play for comparisons. I played to win. El Clasico games were wars. Madrid against Barcelona. Every match felt like a final. The pressure was insane. Sometimes we won. Sometimes we lost. But I never hid. I never disappeared. I scored in big games. Important games. Games that decide titles. Still, something was missing. The Champions League. For Real Madrid, this trophy is special. It is history. It is identity. Year after year we tried. Year after year we failed. People said I could not win it without Manchester United. They said I was selfish. They said I cared only about myself. I listened. But I did not respond. Instead, I trained harder. I became stronger mentally. I became a leader. New coaches came. New players joined. I stayed the same. Focused. Hungry. I broke records. More goals every season. More hat tricks. More moments people remembered. But still one thing mattered most. Winning in Europe. Then everything changed. In 2014 we reached the Champions League final. Again. The pressure was unbearable. The match was tough. Very tough. When we scored late and won the final, I felt something explode inside me. La Decima. The 10th Champions League for Real Madrid. I took off my shirt. I shouted. Years of frustration left my body. That night I knew I had arrived. Not just as a star, but as a legend of this club. After that, everything flowed. More Champions League titles followed. One after another. Records that seemed impossible. I scored in finals. I scored when it mattered most. I lived for those moments. People stopped asking if I was good enough. They started asking how long I could keep going. Inside I smiled, because I knew the answer. I was far from done. After winning the Champions League with Real Madrid, something inside me changed. I felt calmer, stronger, more certain. I was no longer chasing proof. I had already shown who I was. Now I was building a legacy. Every new season, people asked the same question. Can he do it again? Is he finished? Is he too old? I heard everything, but I stopped listening. My focus became simple. Prepare my body. Prepare my mind. Deliver when it matters. I changed my game again. I did not run like before. I ran smarter. I saved my energy for the right moments. Inside the box, I became deadly. One touch, one movement, one goal. I worked hard on my physical condition. Gym, recovery, sleep, food. Everything mattered. Some players trained to look good in training. I trained to decide finals. The Champions League became my competition. Big nights, bright lights, pressure everywhere. And I loved it. I scored in quarterfinals, semifinals, finals, again and again. People started calling me Mr. Champions League. At first I smiled. Then I accepted it. Because numbers do not lie. Goals kept coming. Records kept falling. Top scorer year after year. But what mattered most was winning. As a team. As a family. We won 3 Champions League titles in a row. Something nobody believed was possible. History. Those moments were not luck. They were built in silence. In the gym. On empty training fields. In lonely nights. I became captain. Not just by the armband. But by actions. When things were difficult, I spoke. When pressure was high, I stayed calm. When others felt fear, I felt excitement. Still, critics never stopped. They said I was selfish. They said I only cared about goals. They did not understand something. Goals are responsibility. Goals are pressure. Goals are courage. When I step up to take a penalty in a final, I don't feel fear. I feel purpose. During these years, I also grew outside football. I became a father. That changed me. I learned balance. I learned patience. I learned what really matters. But on the pitch, I stayed ruthless, focused, obsessed with winning. Then came another decision, another turning point. After many years in Madrid, I felt the cycle was ending. I gave everything to this club. My goals, my heart, my best years. Leaving was painful, very painful. But I believe something strongly. If you stay too long in one place, you stop growing. I needed a new challenge, a new fire. When I left Real Madrid, people said I was finished. They said I could not do it again somewhere else. They said my story was over. I smiled, because I knew something they didn't. I was built for pressure, built for doubt, built for moments when people say, he can't. Those moments are where I am strongest. And once again, I was ready to prove it. When I arrived in Italy, everything felt different once more. New country, new language, new culture, new football. I joined Juventus, one of the biggest clubs in Italy. A club with history. A club built on discipline and winning. Many people doubted me again. They said Serie A was too tactical, too defensive. They said it would be hard for me to score. I heard the same words I heard before. You are too old. You can't do it again. This league will stop you. I smiled quietly. I had heard this story many times. From the first day I worked, I learned the league. I learned the defenders. I learned the rhythm. Italian football is smart. Defenders read the game well. They wait. They close space fast. So I adapted. I moved better. I chose my moments. I became more efficient. Goals came. Important goals. Game-winning goals. I scored in the league. I scored in Europe. I scored when the team needed me most. Juventus fans started to believe. They sang my name. They trusted me. One night in the Champions League, everything stopped. We played against Atletico Madrid. We lost the first match badly. People said it was over. They said Juventus was finished. They said I could not save them. In the second match, I felt something strong inside me. Come. Focus. Fire. That night I scored 3 goals. A hat-trick. One by one. The stadium exploded. The fans went crazy. That was a moment made for me. That night reminded the world of something important. Pressure does not break me. It wakes me up. During my time in Italy, I won titles. League titles. Super Cups. Individual awards. But it was not always easy. The team changed. Coaches changed. Systems changed. I gave everything I had. Goals. Leadership. Experience. Still people kept talking. Comparing. Questioning. I learned long ago that silence is powerful. I let my performances speak. Then came another call. Another surprise. Manchester United wanted me back. Going back felt emotional. This was where I grew. Where I became a man. Some said it was a mistake. Some said I should stop. But I followed my heart. Returning to Old Trafford felt like coming home. The fans welcomed me like family. I scored again. Important goals. Big goals. Even then, people still doubted. That never changed. But I did not play to please everyone. I played because football lives inside me. Because competing lives inside me. No matter where I go, the story stays the same. New place. New doubts. Same answer. Work. Focus. Results. And still, my journey was not over. Playing for my club was always important to me. But playing for my country meant something deeper. It was about pride. It was about responsibility. It was about Portugal. When I put on the national team shirt, I felt the weight of millions of people. I was not just Cristiano. I was Portugal. From a young age, people expected a lot from me. They said I was the future. They said I would bring trophies. But international football is not easy. For many years I tried. We tried. And we failed. We reached finals. Semi-finals. Important matches. But something was always missing. People said the same things again. He is great for clubs but not for his country. He cannot win with Portugal. Those words followed me everywhere. In 2004 we hosted the European Championship. It was in our home. Our stadiums. Our fans. We reached the final. The whole country dreamed together. But we lost. At home. In the final. I cried again. Just like before. Those tears burned inside me for years. Still, I never stopped believing. I never stopped fighting. Tournament after tournament, I gave everything. Goals, leadership, energy. I became captain, not because of my name, but because I never hid. When we lost, I stood in front. When we won, I shared the credit. Then came Euro 2016. Another chance. Maybe the last one. The team was not perfect. We were not favorites. People doubted us again. But something felt different. The group was united, focused, hungry. Game by game we survived. Not always playing beautiful football, but always fighting. In the final, something painful happened. I got injured early. I could not play. That was one of the hardest moments of my life. I wanted to be on the pitch. I wanted to help. Instead, I stood on the side. I shouted. I encouraged. I suffered. That night, my team won. Portugal won. When the final whistle blew, I fell to the ground. Not from pain. From relief. All the years. All the criticism. All the doubt. It was over. I lifted the trophy with my teammates. For my country. For my family. For everyone who believed. Later we won the Nations League too. Another trophy. Another moment of pride. People stopped saying I could not do it. They had no words left. Records followed. Most goals for my country. Most appearances. History. Every time I scored for Portugal, I felt something special. Not fame. Not money. Honor. When kids wear my shirt in Portugal, I understand something. This was never just about football. It was about showing that a boy from a small island can reach the top. Without excuses. Without shortcuts. With work. With sacrifice. With belief. And even now, when people ask me why I keep going, the answer is simple. Because I still feel it. That fire. That love. That responsibility. And one last chapter was still waiting. When people look at my career, they see goals, trophies, records, fame. But that is not the full story. The real story is about mindset, discipline, and choice. I was not born special. I was not born rich. I was not born lucky. I was born hungry. Every step of my life was a decision. To wake up early. To train when others rested. To continue when others quit. Talent opened the door. But work kept it open. There were many moments when I could have stopped. When pain was too strong. When criticism was too loud. When pressure was too heavy. But I never stopped believing in one thing. Myself. People often ask me, what is your secret? There is no secret. I repeat the same basics every day. Sleep well. Train hard. Eat right. Recover. Focus. I treat every match like it is my last. Every training session like it matters. Because it does. I learned that motivation comes and goes. But discipline stays. I also learned that success has a price. Time. Sacrifice. Loneliness. While others were celebrating, I was training. While others were sleeping, I was preparing. That does not make me better. It makes me committed. I made mistakes. I lost important games. I disappointed people. But I never ran from responsibility. I faced it. Being strong is not about never falling. It is about standing up every time. Outside football, I built a life too. I became a father. I learned love in a new way. I learned patience. That changed me. It made me deeper, more human. But my competitive spirit never left. It still burns. Even now, when people say my time is over, I smile, because I know something they don't. Limits are opinions. I came from a small island with nothing. No guarantees. No shortcuts. And I built everything with my own hands. If there is one message I want to leave, it is this. Your background does not define your future. Your habits do. Dreams are not enough. Belief is not enough. You must work. Every day. Especially when you don't feel like it. I'm not a legend because of talent. I am a legend because I refuse to stop. And when my career ends, records will be broken. Trophies will be won by others. But mentality lasts. The mentality to fight. To grow. To demand more from yourself than anyone else. That is my real legacy. I am Cristiano Ronaldo. And this is not just my story. It is proof that discipline can beat everything.